streets, the remaining portions that have finally been completed of the Wisteria Ways 2 subdivision. The streets themselves, all the bonded work has been completed satisfactorily. The planning board has signed off, and I believe has sent you something indicating so. And we just, they're requesting that they be put forth the street acceptance. So I believe the next point in this process is to vote your intention to lay those streets out and to vote to have a public meeting. And I believe Cindy has it scheduled for March 20th.
Terrific. And you're happy with everything today?
Yes. Yeah.
Let's move that the Board of Selectmen vote its intention to lay out Daylily Lane as a town way as shown on a plan entitled Acceptance Plan Daylily Lane dated September 19, 2017, prepared by GLM Engineering Consultants Incorporated, and that the Board of Selectmen forward layout petition and plan to the Planning Board for its comments and recommendations pursuant to General Laws, Chapter 41, subsection 81G and 81I.
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. No.
Oh, really? Oh,
we
Lavender
have to
Zoo.
do a-
Okay.
we have to
Motion to move.
separately. Sorry.
Move the Board of Selectmen vote its intention to lay out Lavender Lane as a town way as shown on the plan entitled Acceptance Plan Lavender Lane dated September 19, 2017, prepared by GLM Engineering Consultants Incorporated, and that the Board of Selectmen forward the layout petition and plan to the Planning Board for its comments and recommendations pursuant to General Laws, Chapter 41, subsection 81G and 81I.
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion to move subject to applicants abiding by the zoning board of appeals decision of 6/14 and planning board's site plan decision, case number 14-3.
I'll second that.
Any more discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Good luck.
Good luck you so much, guys.
Seriously, we'd like you to be very successful, sir. Yep. Vote, is there anybody here from Walpole Discount Beer? Come on up if you would, please. Hey, welcome. State your name, please.
My name is Pavis.
Bhavesh Patel, and my name's Renee Sumner. I'm here to play support.
Oh, good, I'm glad. Hopefully you won't need it, but we'll see. Cindy, the paperwork is all fine for this?
This is, this particular issue, the board only needs to vote if you oppose it, because it's, if you have an issue with it, if you feel that the location is not adequate for this particular care home, but other than that, you don't need to take any vote.
Well, I mean, I can say personally, I've been in the establishment, I have no issue with Keno's there, so, I mean, that's one of three, but, you know, yeah, yeah.
Sometimes a couple of hours a day,
Yeah, I've been in and your wife has been there as well, so, I see no issue, I don't know, Selectman Salvatore
No,
Galvin.
I'm good.
David?
I've expressed my concerns about these in the past, but
Yeah.
I have been overruled in the past. So given the fact that there's only three of us here, I will not stand in the way of this particular application.
Thank you for
We're all
coming
set.
in.
Thank you very much.
And Cindy, thank you for the
Good luck.
rule by,
No problem.
Good luck. And make sure when we're in there, we win, the three of us. And if you see our town administrator, have him. No, that's okay. He'll come in.
I can do the consent
Yeah,
agenda
please.
while we wait. Request from the Junior Women's Club of Walpole to place an A-frame on the common to announce the spring fashion show, February 25 to March 10th.
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. And, you know what, while we're waiting for our town administrator to get back, I'll make a motion to accept the minutes for January 23rd, 2018.
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye, 300, and the minutes of the selectmen meeting on February 6th, 2018.
I'll second that.
school committee meeting coming up.
Yeah, and unfortunately, we're doing this way too much in this town, in our country. And I remember we did a similar one on Stone Field.
Yep.
And it was only a few years ago.
Yep.
And I'm a big proponent of doing this, and hopefully the community will come out.
Sure, I'm very supportive, so.
Yeah, and if Cindy, if you or Jim can get back to the petitioner and see if they would like, you know, Chief Carmichael or the selectmen to be there, selectmen to say anything.
Yep.
We're open to doing whatever to make this a meaningful and successful night. Okay, Jim.
Just a couple of quick comments. I believe that Chief Carmichael is meeting with the school committee on the 8th. That's their next meeting to address this matter. I will make sure that both Chief Bailey and Carmichael are aware of the situation. We'll reach out to the resident, and I'll ask Patrick to put it on the Blackburn Hall Facebook page. We'll put it out on Twitter and wherever else they think is appropriate.
Yeah.
Okay.
And let's post it and do what we
I can
can.
do it on the website. on our
Yeah,
page.
and I don't know if it deserves a robocall, but I'd like us to be as supportive as we possibly can.
Okay.
Okay?
No problem. A couple other items. Longview Farm, the chief and I received notice last week that they are closing indefinitely. And when I questioned them a little bit further on that, the new CEO, Leslie Suggs, who used to be our direct contact, informed us probably somewhere at the earliest, the late summer, early fall, but she's not looking to put a time frame on it. As the new CEO, she really wants to evaluate their mission out there and address some of the key concerns that her and the chief and I and this board have been dealing with. I'm optimistic. I've known Leslie for a couple of years. I think she's someone that wants to see some real change down there.
When we were told that this was happening, I actually had to stop what I was doing because I never thought, especially given the amount of money they had put in to refurbish and build and create, that this day will come. And Leslie's done a really nice job and was our contact there, and I really do hope that she and the state take a good hard look at that facility, what its mission is, and the safety concerns that this town has had for a very long time. And I'm not the first selectman, nor is Selectman Salvatore or Selectman Gallivan to have grave concerns up there, but it has been an absolute disaster on a number of fronts, and we are extremely happy that they're taking a good hard look. I'm just surprised that they didn't do this before they invested all of the capital to expanding up there.
Thank you.
Yeah, I would just jump in real quick. You know, it's all about the kids there. A lot of those kids are from a bad situation, and I
Right.
think they've had a bad situation out there, and I think it's good that they're taking a pause to reevaluate what they're doing and how they're doing it, and hopefully it can result in a better outcome for some of those kids.
Yeah, absolutely. So what are the next steps? They're closing indefinitely,
Well,
beginning
they're
when?
slowly, a lot of their residential students have been placed at other facilities. That isn't complete yet, but I think she told me she's down to about 10 or 12 students. They want to place them in the right situation. So it's happening now, slowly. So.
Did a small handful will remain, though, that,
A small handful of children that are bused in may remain. She wanted to find the right facility for them. So they talked about possibly having children 10 and under there, because right now it's a wide range. I think it's 5 to 18 there. And she said she really wanted to evaluate, do they want to shrink it down to like 5 to 7 or 10-year-olds, or, you know.
and it was co-ed too as well, right?
So, they're slowly reducing the population there.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
Good.
Okay, Finance Committee. The Finance Committee started meeting a couple weeks ago. We've had about 3 or 4 real productive meetings so far. They've gone through, they're kind of treating it like town meeting, where so far we focused on the assessments and fringe benefits budgets, the trash budget, Board of Health, the general government budgets. So this kind of leads me to my question to the Board of Selectmen. I am guessing this board at some point will want to take votes on each warrant article and go through each budget line by line. What I propose is either we do this at a work session, just a special night, maybe after the Finance Committee wraps up their deliberations on the warrant articles and on the budget. We're going through the budget first, then the warrant articles. Does that sound okay? Do you want to do it at like 6 o'clock some night before a meeting, or do you want to do it on a off night and have just a special work session for it, or whatever works for the board?
Well, I mean, it's tough to give you that direction without Nancy and Ann here, because I don't want to say, yes, let's have on a Sunday, I'll host it, you know, and we'll have pizza and get through it. But I would prefer if we started meetings at 6 and spent an hour, or 3 meetings in a row, if that's okay with you and you.
Sure, yeah.
And why don't we at least slate it that way, and maybe you can send a note to Ann and Nance saying,
Yeah.
right,
Okay.
and see what their input is, but I'd hate to have something definitive without them weighing in.
Okay. Yeah.
You know?
The other thing is, maybe we could all give you feedback on it, like, some of the articles I don't have any issues with. So there's a few, though, that I'd like to dig in, so I can let you know in an email, a couple of issues that,
Yeah.
you know, we'll want to dig in on for sure.
Okay. And lastly, parking. Last week, we had a meeting with the MBTA where we addressed parking. We talked about obviously the Craft commuter line, Foxborough line, as it's called, and the second rail that they'd like to put in from here down to Norfolk, which will allow trains to operate more freely on there. What I took away from that meeting is David Moeller didn't attend it. They designated it to the assistant general manager of the MBTA. It was a productive meeting, and they're looking at already expanding the small parking lot at the corner of East and Elm, and they are actually listening to some of our requests regarding safety for the Foxborough line, specifically the Summer Street crossing. They're going to consider reducing the speed limit, at least gradually, and they're going to talk about buffering or some type of fencing for the abutters who are residential abutters along the train track. So those are some of the big 3 that we've been asking for the last year and a half on this one. So.
Right, I'm encouraged. I know Selectman Salvatore and I met with DOT representatives and were given assurances that have yet to happen, so I'm encouraged, but the proof will be actually in the execution of that. I mean, at the end of the day, we have to push very hard for the safety elements of the Foxborough line, because that's the only place we really have any leverage. And quite frankly, I'm glad we have open lines of communication finally, and I hope it keeps up, you know?
I can say that of the people who, there were no people involved in this conversation that came to Boyden or involved. It seems like that group has more or less moved on. I'm optimistic with this group, with the MBTA.
I would say the same thing. I was surprised that they had 9 people at the meeting, and they seemed to be 9 people who focused on separate areas, and they were very responsive verbally. So the parking lot will be the first sign that they're serious. If they can get that open quickly, that would be a good first step. So
Right,
I'm
and
encouraged. I would agree with you.
no update on any other lots?
I'm in discussions with the Manzo group. Mike Manzo stopped in my office last week. He is telling me they think they can have that dirt parking lot paved by March, but I've been told it was going to get done in December, so.
If he stops in again, and I have no issues reaching out, that was a dirt lot for a very long time. So the one thing I don't understand is, while we're waiting for it to be no longer a dirt lot, why can't we put cars there?
They've just
I'm
been
just,
reluctant to. Yeah.
I know,
frustrating.
I just, because we continually get asked, so I would ask you to ask him so they can give us some message points, because I know the 5 of us are continually getting asked, and I would like to at least have some response to those inquiries, right? I mean,
Yep.
one way or the other. I'm not showing my hand and asking for a miracle. I just would like to know the why.
Sure.
Okay?
I have a question.
Joe,
if I may.
Joe.
the Elm Street, East Street lot, does the status of, will this, I thought that that land was being sold to the developer of the foundry.
I know it's not being sold, but I think there was an agreement there, a lease for an extended amount of time for parking. But the word I got was that they can easily change that. Jerry LaRusso and the Liberty Village Group is a year or two out at least on their building there.
So, and I don't know if this is accurate, and I don't want to, but my understanding was it was still going to be used for MBTA during the day and used for,
I believe that's part of the agreement, his residents at night who are living in that facility.
and also, is it supposed to be a ground floor restaurant space on that side of the building too?
They haven't committed to restaurant, they have committed to 15,000 square foot of retail space.
Okay. Now so the parking that the foundry project has this arrangement with, is that part of the requirement of the parking that they need under any of the either zoning or planning?
I don't know if that was included as part of the zoning decision. Can I look it up and let you know?
Yep. I just, but I did understand, my understanding was that during the day it was going to be used for MBTA, but I just want to, see how permanent this is and understand that. Okay. And at some point, is it going to be leveled? And I know it's two different levels right now. Is that accurate? That there's
Yeah, there is. I was looking at it last week. There is two different sections of it.
Is the plan down the line to make it all one level?
The plan that I saw was one single contiguous lot.
Okay, thanks. Follow up on that. I'm curious.
And that's it for me.
Anything else for Jim? There was one other issue I wanted to bring up, Jim, and I apologize. How is our new town planner working?
He's working out very well. This is his second week, and he's already had his planning board meeting. He attended the State of the Town hosted by the Chamber of Commerce this past week. He was well received there. I know he and I and Mark and David hung around and spoke to some of the people who were there afterwards. It went well. I actually should have included that as part of my update. Two members of the Selectmen spoke, the police chief, fire chief, myself, a few members of the chamber. It was a really productive session at the Yankee. So.
Okay, great. Okay, 7:30. Oh, John's here, right? Come on up, sir. We'll get you in and out. Hopefully you didn't put on a suit and tie for this. Oh, you gotta be kidding me. State your name and your address for us.
Hey, good evening, I'm John Leaf. I live at 235 Lincoln Road.
Well, welcome. Thank you for coming in. Most important, thank you for your ambition and your desire to serve on one of the committees. It's a thankless job and much appreciated. I'll open it up to questions from my two colleagues.
Could you just tell us a little bit more about yourself, your background?
Sure. I work over at the Norfolk County Agricultural High School.
Yep.
I've been there for 16 years. I teach environmental science. My background is environmental. I've worked for big chemical companies, worked research, worked at a university. So that's my background is environmental, but I've been working volunteer capacity for zoning and planning for probably about 20-something years now.
Great.
Dave?
Thanks for volunteering.
Thanks.
Have you served on a board in the town?
A number of years ago, I was on the planning board here in Walpole.
Terrific. Why did we only have the associate spot open?
Yeah, right now,
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, I hope you prosper there, and if you have extra time in your hand, there's a bunch of other committees and boards with your background
Once
that
we-
you could help out with. And it's always good to have someone that's also at the Aggie, because that remains, I think, one of the bigger mysteries for us in town, because we don't have them come in. Well, it would actually be the school committee, but it's a large operation that seems to be operating great. We don't really get any exposure to it.
Actually, funny you should say that. The county administrator, Frank Haggerty, reached out to me today, because I mentioned to him a few weeks ago, I haven't seen the renovations. They invited me for a tour in the next couple of weeks, and if the board's interested, I just
Yeah.
want to see what the new facility.
Yeah, it's a great place. I'd
Oh,
encourage
it's
everybody to come
phenomenal.
there. Yeah.
It's phenomenal, and I'd love to learn more about it, so we'll open it up to the selectmen, and
Sure.
that would be terrific. Right. Well, do you want to make a motion?
Just so you know, we are like the Roach Motel of volunteerism. Once we get you in, we don't let you out, so. Motion to appoint John Lee as an associate member to the zoning board of appeals.
I'll second that.
The only discussion is with the thanks of this board. So all in favor?
Aye. Thank you.
3-0-0.
Thank you. Good night.
Yeah.
That's the fun.
Okay, so there is no old business, the minutes. So we are up to the interviews and the appointments of the business.
Did you do new business?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. I know they're all.
Oh, we didn't do new business, no, because I thought Carol was coming in.
Oh, okay.
She isn't? Okay, so why don't we do the new business? The first being a vote to hold the farmer's market Saturdays, June 2nd to October 20th. So we can entertain.
So
a
moved.
motion. Okay, so moved.
I know there were concerns last time from some of the neighbors and
Just
businesses.
go in
I don't know if anyone's here to speak on that, or, but I think there was an open dialogue, and I think those concerns were addressed.
There were some concerns raised about as far as parking with some of the downtown business owners, and I think they were pleasantly surprised when we responded to those, and we addressed a lot of that.
The only thing I would ask before we vote on this is that Ms. Johnson has open lines of communication with the downtown businesses, that Ms. Johnson tells the vendors to park on that grass strip by the cannon, like we had carved out, and that we continue as a town to be communicative with the downtown business if there's any changes, and that we and the farmer's market remain open to suggestions should it get crazy on a certain Saturday.
Need to be in case it needs to be relocated.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, end of the day, it's a wonderful thing. It's a wonderful idea, and it has done really well in that location, and I would like to see it continue and prosper. I think it's just a wonderful thing to offer to the people of Walpole. That said, we also have to be cognitive of the impact it may have on those businesses. So, with that, we have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
3-0-0. The Memorial Pond dredging project, Jim?
Sure. Recommend the award of bid contract number 2018-06, the Memorial Pond Dredging Project Improvements, to Charter Contracting LLC, and authorize the town administrator to sign on behalf of the town.
Any questions, David? Mark?
No, I think this will be a great project and revitalize Memorial Pond.
And with this contract, I know at some point there was some concern as to what scope we were going to be able to afford of the project, and
We're going to be able to fit the whole scope into phase 1 and 2, and Carl from ESS is going to serve as our project manager, and they'll oversee the project there, along with Landis and the Conservation Commission.
I move to award the bid contract number 2018-06 for Memorial Pond Dredging Project to Charter Contracting Company LLC, and authorize the town administrator to sign the contract on behalf of the town.
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
3-0-0.
Thank you.
And then vote to send spring annual town meeting warrant.
I'll second that.
Oh, there's no discussion, right?
No, like I previously mentioned, we can go over this one evening. I have provided a summary of each of the articles
Yeah.
for you and for Finance Committee a few weeks ago, and always willing to talk to anyone.
No, I like the format we have. Any input from my 4 colleagues on changing it is always welcome. It's whatever works for everyone. I know this is a subject of interest with Ann, so I don't want to get anything locked and loaded until she's back next meeting. Maybe we can revisit it again. But I think we move forward, right? It's working for us, so
Sure.
why not? I'm more concerned about the budget, you know, the financial aspects of it, but we'll do what we need to do.
Okay.
Okay? Motion?
Okay. Motion to sign the 2018 Spring Annual Town Meeting warrant.
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, 300. You know, before we do this, is there anybody here for open forum? Okay, great. Chief Bailey?
Good evening, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. This evening, I'm before you with 6 candidates to be hired to fill 6 vacancies that we have within the department. We lost one 2 months ago and 4 this past month, and we have another one that'll be going in November. So we're trying to be proactive because of the delay in getting everyone into the fire academy. Right now, we're looking at July, August to get people into the academy with the Mass Fire Academy. So with that being said, I have 6 candidates tonight that I'm bringing before you to hopefully be appointed.
And one candidate is ill, correct?
Yes, I have one candidate who is out ill this evening. That is Matt Gately.
Yeah.
I gave you all the paperwork on all the individuals. Behind me, I have Matt McGrain, Brendan O'Neill, Jeffrey Daniels, Matt Rakowski, and Keith Hamilton.
Yeah.
And
I don't want to embarrass candidate Hamilton because his mother's in the back row, and she was. But no, welcome, and how do you want to do this? Do you want each to come up and say something, or I know you're presenting them to us.
Yes.
You gave us ample information, and my view is always that if you're happy with the candidate slate, you know, you need to run your shop, but I don't want to speak for the 3 of us.
Can you just describe for us a little bit the process that you went through, how many applicants you had, and?
Sure. So we've had open enrollment for a couple of months now, and for the first couple of months that we had that, we only had 1 candidate. Then we got our numbers up. We tried a different approach with advertising it out. We went a couple different venues. We had 11 candidates that we interviewed. The interviews this time were done by the deputy and I. We interviewed each one of the candidates and came up with our selections. We actually had even more beyond the 6 that we could have brought before you this evening. We brought the 6 that we thought would fit best within the department. There is a little bit of a change with how we're doing the appointments this time. By contract, we're allowed to have up to 2 years for them to get their EMTP, which is their paramedic.
Right.
The applicant pool, one of the problems that we had in the past was that we were only hiring medics only, and it was kind of limiting us as to who we would get. This class here, we have the majority, actually all of them, are currently enrolled in class. Some are further along than others, but all are at least halfway, with the exception of Matt McGrain, who's behind me. Matt's exception, though, is that he is already fully trained through the Mass Fire Academy. Great. We can bring him in as soon as he's done with his psychological and his physical testing and put him on shift within the next month or so. So that's a benefit to us. He will continue on, as they all will, with their paramedic schooling. They have 2 years to get that, and we're hoping that they're actually, most of them are done before they actually go to the fire academy in July, end of August. So that's kind of where we're at. And I can answer anything else more specific if you'd like, but.
No. And the training at the academy is rather grueling, and people do fail and drop out as well. Is that, I mean, fair to say?
They do, although we hope that, we've had it happen to us twice. Once many years ago, and then this last class, we had an individual that didn't make it past the 2nd week. Our problem this past time was we actually had a candidate that left before he even got to the academy. So, and then we had another issue with a medical issue that prohibited another candidate. So, but normally they do make it through. It is a demanding course. It's 10 weeks. That's all they're allowed to do when they go there is to do the 10 weeks at the academy. They're not allowed to come in and work extra shifts or overtime, or they are committed to the academy. We do that on purpose because there is a lot of extra work involved outside of the classroom and the training field at the academy, and it's in the best interest of the candidate to have it solely committed to the academy. So that's with the medic program. That's why we're hoping that they're all done prior to going there, because once they get into the fire academy, they will be on a 10-week hiatus from their medic program. So most of them are online to be done just before they go, so which is a good thing. If not, we'll bring them along afterwards and get them up to speed.
Terrific. And you said there were 2 other of the 11 that were also qualified as well?
Yes,
but
they were.
These are the 6 best, correct?
That's correct.
Terrific.
And we actually have 2 residents here within this group, Keith and Brendan.
Yeah, awesome.
Both grew up here, and
Well, we didn't hold that against you, so we won't hold it against them. But, no, I think, do you have more questions? You good?
I'm good. I would just say just one thing, and then you
Right.
can, Chief, as you know, we have a lot of faith in you. I have a lot of faith in you personally, and so if these are the candidates you recommend, I'm going to go with your view. I have a lot of respect for the whole department.
Yeah.
I've seen you in action many times, and I'm looking forward to all of these gentlemen joining the fire department.
Yeah, I would add to that, and I don't want Chief Bailey or Deputy Chief Berry to get a big head, but we take great pride in our fire department in this town. It has done an exceptional job for a very long period, and if Chief Bailey is before us with 6 candidates that he thinks is going to keep that tradition going, then I'm all in favor of it as well. But we do take a great pride in the services that we provide our citizens in this town, and the fire department, as well as the police department, do a superb job. And please keep that in the back of your minds when you get the call every single day, because we look to you to keep our town safe and do what you need to do. So welcome aboard, guys.
Yes, and that was the purpose of my questioning. Clearly, you've done a great job in the past, and you have gone through these candidates, and I'm sure the Academy will determine whether they're qualified candidates much more than any questioning that I could do this evening.
Yeah.
And we could learn about their special sauce, but
Yeah, I always ask that.
it's okay.
But with that, do you want to run through the motions?
Sure. Motion to appoint Matthew McGrain as a firefighter paramedic conditional upon the successful completion of all pre-employment testing and certification from the Massachusetts Firefighting Academy, and obtain their paramedic certification of hiring.
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion to appoint Matthew Rakowski as firefighter paramedic conditional upon the successful completion of all pre-employment testing and certification from the Massachusetts Firefighting Academy, and obtain their paramedic certification of hiring.
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion to appoint Matthew Gately as firefighter paramedic conditional upon the successful completion of all pre-employment testing and obtaining the certification from the Massachusetts Firefighting Academy and their paramedic certification of hiring.
I'll second that. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion to appoint Jeffrey Daniels as firefighter paramedic conditional upon successful completion of all pre-employment testing and certification from the Massachusetts Firefighting Academy and obtaining their paramedic certificate of hiring.
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye. Motion to appoint Brendan O'Neill as firefighter paramedic conditional upon successful completion of all pre-employment testing and obtaining certification from the Massachusetts Firefighting Academy and obtaining his paramedic certification of hiring.
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion to appoint Keith Hamilton as firefighter paramedic conditional upon successful completion of all pre-employment testing and obtaining certification from the Massachusetts Firefighter Academy and obtaining their paramedic certification of hiring.
I'll second that.
And all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Congratulations, gentlemen. Why don't you come up and we'll give you your badges.
Congratulations.
Congratulations.
Congratulations. Thank you very much. Congratulations. Congratulations. Welcome aboard.
Thank you.
Congratulations. Thank you very much.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Have a great career with us.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Take care.
Yeah, we don't want anybody, we don't want anybody.
Yeah.
Watch out for the hoses. Tripping over the hoses.
I almost thought being named Matthew was a requirement with the first three, so
Did you do the junior women's club?
Yeah,
Yes.
we did that. Well, we have, Chief, any news on the fire station? Either the temporary or the new one?
It's moving along very quickly.
Yep.
Right now, they're telling us May with a move-in of June, and we're hopeful.
Good. And how about the small issues we had with the temporary station?
Well, now that we've had warmer weather, hopefully it'll continue to stay warmer and we'll be okay. It was the real cold that caused an issue. The temperature dropped down to right around 40 degrees inside the tent, which puts the trucks in danger of freezing. So we were able to supplement that with another heat source because we couldn't get more gas from the street, and made it work.
Good.
Ladder truck.
The tower, the ladder truck, the new tower has been ordered. That was ordered through Greenwood about a month ago, and that should be here in a year as well, next
And-
January.
And
We have a pump on capital for this
Thank
year
you.
that'll be coming up at the Springtown meeting, as long as it gets approved through the capital committee. I have met with them, and we're ready to go with that as soon as we're given the green light.
And I
And,
think the only other issue was the successful completion of Deputy Chief Berry's work to become a chief, correct?
Yes, he spent a long time, from September up until the middle of February. He has graduated from the Chief Fire Officer Training Program. It's a very demanding class, which required him to write a very large paper at the end. He successfully completed that, and very happy for him on that.
And he's going.
Happy to have him back on Thursdays.
Yeah, and he's going nowhere for a very long time, so it's good that you have it accomplished, but you're going nowhere. So, with that, no, this is a great day. As we said, gentlemen, welcome to Walpole Fire Department, and we expect great things from you, and I'm sure you'll live up to those expectations. Terrific.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the board.
Awesome. Okay. Anybody else here for open forum? Okay, so with that, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
Move to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you for joining us this evening.
Chief.